A very good morning. It's just past 8 this 3rd September morning and we're back again with Breakfast Show. I'm Anil Thomas. Over the next 1 hour, we'll take you through the major happenings across India and the globe from the field of politics, business and sports. Also a regular segment on health and Good News India story. Our top focus over the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to leave on a 2-day visit to Russian city of Vladivostok. Also look on the 14th United Nations Convention to combat desertification in the national capital. That's not all. Indian shooters continue to shine with the mixed team gold in rifle and pistol events on the concluding day of the ISSF Shooting World Cup in Rio. We'll be getting live inputs from our correspondents on various angles to the top stories. But first up, this Tuesday morning, the headlines we are tracking at the top of this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to leave on a 2-day visit to Russian city of Vladivostok today. Will participate in India-Russia bilateral summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin and address the Eastern Economic Forum. More than 90% of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh free from any prohibitive restrictions, says the government spokesperson. Landlines functional in almost all the areas of the valley. Pakistan grants consular access to jailed businessman Kulbhushan Jadhav under instructions from the International Court of Justice. MEA says Jadhav appeared to be under extreme stress. 8 state-of-the-art Apache attack helicopters to be inducted in the Indian Air Force today. US-built Apache helicopters are the most advanced attack helicopters in their class. 14th United Nations Convention to combat desertification gets underway in the national capital. Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar says the conference aims to achieve a land degradation neutral world by 2030. In international news, while US agrees to withdraw 5,400 troops from Afghanistan in the next 20 weeks, Taliban continues to strike terror, kill 5 civilians in Kabul. The target of the attack was foreign nationals. And in cricket, India beat West Indies in the second and final test at Kingston, Jamaica by 257 runs to win the series 2-0. Hanuman Vihari declared man of the match. And India finish on top of the ISSF Shooting World Cup in Brazil, win the mixed team event gold in rifle and pistol events to end the campaign with 9 medals, including 5 gold medals. And now for the stories in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 3-day visit to Russia today. During this visit, Prime Minister Modi will participate in the 20th India-Russia bilateral summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Prime Minister will also be the chief guest at the 5th Eastern Economic Forum.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Vladivostok on 4th of September for the 20th India-Russia bilateral summit and as the chief guest at the Eastern Economic Forum. The summit will take forward the privileged strategic partnership that the two countries share with a new layer of inter-regional cooperation in the Russian Far East.
The Prime Minister will deliver an address. There will also be an India-Russia business dialogue, and for this a 50-member FICCI delegation is also going to be in Vladivostok. So among the potential sectors are coking coal, obviously oil and gas, diamonds, timber, tourism. And from our perspective, we are also looking at the possibility of farming and also of manpower exports. We need to broaden the relationship with Russia beyond civil, nuclear and defense into other areas of the economy. A 5-year roadmap laying out what possibilities we have in cooperating in oil and gas, both in terms of exploration and exploitation and in terms of purchase in the 5-year time frame 2019 to 2024.
The focus on the Russian Far East comes after Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal led a high-level delegation which included the Chief Ministers of Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Haryana and Goa in mid-August. While several MOUs and B2B agreements are expected to be finalized by business leaders on the sidelines of the summit, at least 12 would be exchanged in presence of Prime Minister Modi and President Putin.
There will be a very major announcement on India's engagement with the Russian Far East, inter-regional cooperation between our chief ministers and the governors of the 11 regions of Russia. But in addition, science and technology, Arctic cooperation, the whole set of area will be covered.
President Putin has big plans to integrate Russia's Far East with the major Asian economies. Since the first Eastern Economic Forum 5 years ago, this region has seen rapid growth. On India's part, 2 Indian diamond cutting and polishing units have set up shop in Vladivostok's free economic zone since 2017.
There are several sessions involving India at the 5th Eastern Economic Forum. Among them are harnessing the power of youth, logistics, a digital pathway, human capital in Eurasia, and Russia-India business dialogue. The Economic Forum is held on the campus of Far Eastern Federal University, one of Russia's oldest universities, and gives the students a chance to experience world affairs right on their campus.
Far Eastern Federal University plays a key role in the development of the whole Far East of Russia and the Asia Pacific in general, as it brings leaders of the neighboring countries and all over the world here for events like this, Eastern Economic Forum.
Prime Minister is likely to have bilateral meeting with his counterparts from Japan, Malaysia and Mongolia. India will further consolidate its relationship with all these countries and look for new areas of cooperation in the Russian Far East.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Vladivostok carries great significance. It's a sign of India's importance in the new economic equations of the Asia Pacific. It also cements India's role in the development of the Russian Far East for the long term. With cameraman Loknath and my colleagues Amit Sahu and Shashank Tiwari, this is Mark Lin, DD News, Vladivostok.
In Jammu and Kashmir, daytime restrictions have been fully lifted from the 92 police stations in Kashmir. Addressing a press conference in Srinagar on Monday, the state government spokesperson Rohit Kansal gave a daily update on the situation in the state. He said that all essential supplies continue in the valley and major hospitals in Srinagar have been functioning normally.
Things are fast turning to normal in the Kashmir Valley following scrapping of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir on the 5th of August. Peace and calm prevails as restrictions have been eased in more than 30% areas across the valley. Barricades have been removed from most locations. Security forces remain in place in order to ensure maintenance of law and order.
On the law and order front, as you are aware, out of 111 police stations in the valley, only 105 of which are territorial or functional in that sense. As we speak, daytime restrictions have been fully lifted from 92 police stations, up from 81 last week. This makes 90% of the valley free of daytime restrictions of any kind. And in totality, we have 93% of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh free of any prohibitory orders today.
I'm here at Dal Lake in Srinagar. As you can see, the situation is gradually improving. We have tourists here who are taking to the boat ride, and according to the DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, the situation is fast turning to normal. Out of the 111 police stations, restrictions have been removed in 82 police stations, and as far as the mobile connectivity is concerned, after a positive response from Handwara and Kupwara, the administration is thinking upon taking away all the restrictions and giving a mobile connectivity in Kashmir.
Attendance in government offices remains normal. In schools, attendance continues to improve. Vehicular movement too has become busier. In Jammu and Ladakh, landlines and mobile phones are functional, while in the valley, 76 telephone exchanges have been reconnected. Hospitals are functioning normally.
We decided to open 29 more exchanges, making the number of functional exchanges to 76 out of a total of 95. Over 26,000 landlines are functional in the valley. This is evident from the fact that the Deputy Commissioner's office in Srinagar, which used to see 2,500 calls being made from its facility, has seen the number of calls being made from its facility fall by over 85%.
Adequate stocks of all essential supplies are also available.
जहाँ तक मुहर्रम के अरेंजमेंट्स का ताल्लुक है, हम इसके लिए बिल्कुल तैयार हैं। जब चावल का जहाँ तक ताल्लुक है, तो हम पहले ही शिया बरादरी के इलाकों में वो चावल पहुँचा चुके हैं। लेकिन किसी एक आदमी जगह पर ना पहुँचा होगा, विदर मंडी वहाँ भी पहुँच जाएगा। गैस हमने हर जगह अवेलेबल रखी है, क्योंकि बुकिंग ऑनलाइन होने में प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है, इसलिए हमने मोबाइल वैन रखी है, हर वक्त अवेलेबल है। जो भी बंदा लेना चाहे जाके ले सकता है आराम से।
Overall, the situation remains normal in Jammu and Kashmir. With inputs from Shailendra Mishra, DD News.
Well, Ladakh is finding ways towards harnessing the abundant potential of hydro and solar energy through better utilization of the schemes under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Here's a ground report from Dras, the second coldest place in the world, which works smoothly in extreme weather.
In Kargil district, the Bairas project caters to electricity needs of the entire Dras division. Along with civil and military installations, more than 3,000 domestic consumers are supplied uninterrupted power from the Bairas project. The SHP workers work seamlessly despite extreme temperatures that reach a freezing -40 degrees during the winter months. CREDA ensures uninterrupted power supply even under adverse conditions.
-30 में हम यहाँ क्रेडे का प्रोजेक्ट चला रहे हैं। हमारे 2 टीमें बनी हुई है, एक टीम ऊपर कोरा तोड़ रही है, एक टीम नीचे कोरा तोड़ रही है और टायरलेस और स्विच का बर्फ हटा रही है। और हम पब्लिक के भी शुक्रगुजार हैं और एसडीएम के भी शुक्रगुजार हैं, हमारा साथ दे रहा है।
The Bairas small hydro project was commissioned in the winter of 2017 by the Kargil Renewable Energy Development Authority or CREDA at Dras in Kargil district. Since the commissioning of the SHP, the preservation of Himalayan ecology has also gained momentum. In order to ensure uninterrupted supply of electricity, such as schemes hold great importance in view of ecology of the area, because in the absence of these, the power supply from diesel generators was ensured, which caused great harm to the environment as well as the Himalayan ecology. This is the reason that CREDA project director Kacho Ahmad Khan honored the Sargad organization. That is the reason that CREDA project director Kacho Ahmad Khan honored the Sargad organization with the Kargil Gaurav Award on the eve of 20 years of Kargil Vijay Divas on Republic Day. Ramesh Chandra's report from Leh Ladakh for DD News.
And for more updates there from Jammu and Kashmir, joining us is Vishal Baristo, our correspondent from Srinagar this morning. Vishal, good morning. Vishal, purely looking at Kashmir, the lockdown, we are nearing a month, but no restrictions. That's what the reports that we get. What do you see there on ground zero?
Well, a very good morning to you, Anil. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. And yes, situation is normal because it's been 3 days now since I have landed in the valley. And as you heard the government spokesperson, he said that all is well as far as the valley is concerned. No untoward incident has been reported so far, apart from one killing of a shopkeeper, and that was very unfortunate because people want to come back to the normal lives and with the support of the government. Let me tell you that 4,000 schools are functional now. The staff attendance is fine, and slowly and steadily the students are also coming to the schools. Yesterday I saw many students coming out of the school because it was by 2 o'clock the school was off. And let me tell you that the medical facilities are also in place. According to the government figures, 2.5 lakh patients are being treated at the OPD in the government hospitals, and all the essential commodities are available. And as far as the connectivity is concerned, more than 26,000 landlines have been put in place. Now with regard to the mobile facility, the government is very much clear that because of the security and safety of the people, the mobile facility is not being restored, could not be restored right now, apart from Handwada and Kupwada, from where we have had a very positive response. So it would take some time, and as far as, if you ask me, it's quite a digital detoxification for me, and life is moving normally and people are enjoying. Yesterday I saw, and also I showed our viewers how people are enjoying boat ride in the Dal Lake, and definitely people want to come here and enjoy Kashmir, because Kashmir, as we all know, is known Jannat-e-Kashmir, the heaven on earth across the world. So the government is also trying to help people. The government is also trying to introduce all the central schemes that are meant for the people of Kashmir that have not been implemented in toto so far. So we are all here to help them. The government is saying time and again, but because of the terrorist organizations across the border and the handlers of some anti-national elements, the mobile facility have not been restored so far.
Okay. Okay, also give us a sense of, how the public transport system is there. Has it been fully restored? And what about, travel, inter-district travels, and there's a lot of private cars that ply there. What's the situation there when it comes to private cars plying through inter-districts?
Well, as far as private vehicles are concerned, there is no problem, because private vehicles are plying on the roads, and it's quite a normal transportation as far as the private vehicles are concerned. As far as the public transport of inter-district are concerned, some districts have already started, and the government official spokesperson informed us that slowly we'll have public transport in the inter-district to other places also. The valley is fast turning to normal, and it's a fruit season. The fruit season has already started. When we talk about fruits, apple is the main fruit here, and the trucks that is taking the fruit to different parts of the country, different parts of the state, they are also plying on the roads, and all security and safety are being provided to them so that there is no hindrance. Though we have had an incident where a shopkeeper was killed, and that was very unfortunate, and also one truck driver was stone pelted to death. So the security persons are taking guard of the situation, and both the incidents have been taken cognizance by the security agencies, and all efforts are being made to provide all help as far as the normalcy in the valley is concerned. And as I informed you, the fruit season is on, and the government is also aware of it. So the trucks are plying. So far we have had 130 trucks, and soon it's going to rise, because as the season progresses, we would have more trucks plying on the roads.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate your joining us. You stay safe there, and we'll come back to you for more updates on the situation there in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Moving ahead, India's Deputy High Commissioner in Islamabad, Gaurav Ahluwalia, on Monday met Kulbhushan Jadhav at a jail in Islamabad where he is lodged. This was the first meeting between an Indian diplomat and Jadhav, as Pakistan never allowed him consular access. After the meeting, New Delhi said that Jadhav appeared to be under extreme pressure to parrot a false narrative to bolster Pakistan's untenable claims. Ministry of External Affairs said it will decide a future course of action, or the further course of action, after receiving a detailed report and determining the extent of conformity to the ICJ directives. The Ministry of External Affairs said that the government remains committed to continue to work towards ensuring that Jadhav receives justice at the earliest and returns safely to India. The 10-day 14th Conference of Parties COP14 to the UN Convention to Combat Desertification is underway in Greater Noida. As India assumes COP presidency for 2 years, Union Minister of Environment, Forests and Climate Change Prakash Javadekar expressed optimism towards restoring land ecology and environment.
Pointing to an unprecedented global campaign to save productive land, Union Minister for Environment Prakash Javadekar said 122 countries, among them Brazil, China, India, Nigeria, Russia and South Africa, which are among the largest and the most populous nations on earth, have agreed to make sustainable development goals of achieving land degradation neutrality a national target. Union ministers also mentioned that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the high-level segment meeting on 9th of September. Talking about the importance of such large-scale conferences, Union Minister for Environment, who also took up the role of President of the COP or the COP, said UNCCD is very important and Delhi Declaration will form the future course of action.
सभी देशों में बंजर जमीन कम होने से रोजगार पर भी अच्छा परिणाम होता है, जीवन यापन भी होता है, शहर की ओर माइग्रेशन रुकता है और उसके साथ साथ कार्बन एमिशन जो हमारे बड़ी समस्या है उसमें भी सुधार आता है। जैसे भारत ने 25,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर ट्री कवर पिछले 5 साल में बढ़ाया है, तो ये ऐसे अनेक काम किए जा सकते हैं जिससे लैंड रिस्टोर होती है, वो फॉरेस्ट में भी और आउट ऑफ फॉरेस्ट ऑल्सो, और इसलिए ये कॉप सम्मेलन बहुत उपयोगी होगा।
Purpose of the convention is to combat desertification and mitigate the effects of drought to achieve sustainable development in the affected areas by taking effective action at all levels through international cooperation and partnership agreements. Minister of State Babul Supriyo said that India is ready to lead from the front.
The invigorating leadership of our Honorable PM Narendra Modi ji, India has been very proactive in combating land degradation, desertification and drought. As per FAO's Forest Resource Assessment 2010, India is among top 5 countries to have worked on forest restoration. Also, India is among the top 10 countries in the world rather, with net forest gain as per Forest Resource Assessment 2015. We have added more than 15,000 square kilometers of tree cover inside and outside forest areas in the last 5 years, which you will agree is a big success in land restoration.
Executive Secretary of the UNCCD, Ibrahim Thiaw, drew attention to the warnings sounded out by recent scientific assessments and the growing public alarm at the frequency of weather-related disaster. He also thanked the Government of India for hosting the international conference.
We are very fortunate to be here in India. You have seen by yourself the conditions that we have been provided for to work in. This is undoubtedly going to be the largest COP ever organized by the UNCCD. As of this morning, we have more than 7,300 participants registered. I think we will beat the 8,000. As the minister said, we have a long list of ministers from around the world that are confirmed to the high-level segment next week. And we also have a long list of leaders from the United Nations participating, including the number 2 of the United Nations, Deputy Secretary General, as well as heads of other UN agencies and non-UN agencies.
In 2017, the parties adopted the UNCCD 2018-2030 strategic framework, which has 5 strategic objectives. 1. Improve conditions of affected populations, improve conditions of affected ecosystems, mitigate the impacts of drought, work through partnerships, and generate global beliefs. With India taking over the leadership role in COP14, the world now looks up to the country to provide a fillip in the fight for degradation and desertification. Delhi Declaration is expected to provide a roadmap for the world in its bid for land neutrality. With inputs from Tapas Bhattacharya, DD India.
Well, a Delhi court has extended CBI custody of former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram in the INEX media case till today. The court will also hear the interim bail plea of Chidambaram today. The senior Congress leader was produced before the court on expiry of his 3-day CBI custody, which was granted on 30th of last month. Chidambaram was arrested on the 21st of August after the Delhi High Court dismissed his anticipatory bail plea on August 20th. He was earlier produced before the court on 22nd of this month and was remanded to 4-day CBI custody. On Tuesday, the apex court will also take up Chidambaram's challenge to the non-bailable warrant issued against him and remand orders passed by the trial court. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh on his second day of Japan visit toured the Japan Marine United Isogo Works. Raksha Mantri was accompanied by the Deputy Minister of Parliament of Japan. The Japan Marine United Isogo Works is known for its use of modern technology in the manufacturing of ships worldwide. At JMU, Rajnath Singh was briefed about novel technology used in ships and also the company's future policies. Raksha Mantri will also visit Hamamatsu later in the day, where he will visit the largest training command of the Japanese Air Force. At the training command, besides the details of the program, Raksha Mantri will also be demonstrated the capabilities of the E-767, AWAC, F-15 fighter jets and T-4 training aircrafts. In a major boost to the Indian Air Force's combat capabilities, 8 US-made Apache AH-64E attack helicopters are set to be inducted into the Indian Air Force today. Air Chief Marshal B.S. Dhanova will be the chief guest during the induction ceremony, which will take place at the Pathankot Air Force Station. AH-64E Apache is one of the world's most advanced multi-role combat helicopters and is flown by the US Army. Well, moving to international stories now. The United States would withdraw 5,400 troops from Afghanistan within 20 weeks as part of a deal in principle with Taliban militants. The deal came as a massive explosion rocked central Kabul late on Monday, killing at least 5 people and injuring several others. Taliban claimed the blast took place in a residential area near Green Village, a large compound that houses aid agencies and international organizations. The militants now control more territory than at any time since the 2001 US invasion and have so far refused to talk to the Afghan government, whom they deride as American puppets. In exchange for the US troop withdrawal, the Taliban would ensure that Afghanistan would never again be used as a base for militant groups seeking to attack the US and its allies. At least 5 people have been killed in the Bahamas as Hurricane Dorian continues to batter the country. Surging flood waters, upturned cars and snapped trees can be witnessed in the affected areas. Local media reports that the international airport is underwater. According to forecasters, Dorian is the most powerful storm to hit Bahamas since records began and will later move dangerously close to the US East Coast. The US National Hurricane Center said that only a slight deviation on the path of the storm could bring Dorian directly over Florida's east coast, which is already expected to face life-threatening storm surges and dangerous winds over the next couple of days. The US states of Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina have all declared states of emergency. New fires continue to crop up in the Amazon forest despite the Brazilian government's most recent efforts to stop the deforestation of the region. Roughly 2,000 new fires broke out in the Amazon rainforest in the 48 hours since the ban was enacted last on Thursday. Meanwhile, wildlife has been hit hard as wildfires rage continues across southeastern Bolivia, leaving behind a barren landscape strewn with the bodies of animals that perished in the blaze. At least 1 million hectares or approximately 3,800 square miles have been impacted by the fires across Bolivia, leaving behind an uncountable death toll of flora and fauna. Meanwhile, even as the wildfires in Amazon continue unabated, suspected loggers continue to destroy the world's largest rainforest. Recently, police officers on duty in the region were involved in a firefight with suspected loggers. Dramatic video of the tense standoff was captured. No one was injured in the shootout. No arrests were made. Police destroyed equipment thought to be belonging to the loggers. According to reports, illegal logging, farming and mining has despoiled nearly 12,000 square kilometers in the Amazon this year alone. Critics say the country's President Jair Bolsonaro's call for the Amazon to be opened up for more farming and logging has fueled the deliberate fires. In Amazon, some indigenous tribes are turning to prayers in a bid to halt the destruction and protect their environment for future generations. In the village of Fijo, in west of Brazil, indigenous people from the tribe of Xananawa performed a ritual to try to find peace between humans and nature. Tens of thousands of forest fires have been recorded in the Amazon during this year's dry season, the most in at least a decade. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said he does not want a general election in an attempt to warn off rebel MPs from his party backing the opposition with plans to block Brexit with another pointless delay. In a statement on the steps of Downing Street in London, Johnson said there are no circumstances under which he would accept a delay to Brexit, which is scheduled for 31st of October. The unscheduled statement, which has sent speculation of a snap election into override, came following an emergency meeting of the cabinet amid plans by different sections of parliament to block Britain's exit from the European Union without an agreement in place by the 31st of October deadline. Johnson's latest ultimatum makes it clear to MPs on all sides of the House of Commons that he would not, under any circumstances, entertain the notion of another delay to Brexit. Johnson earlier expressed hope he would get a deal with Brussels on ending Britain's 46-year-old membership of the European Union, but added that he would stick to the Brexit deadline. An escalation between Israel and Hezbollah has ended after a brief exchange of fire, but tensions remained high along the Lebanese border on Monday after the enemies traded accusations. Residents returned to life as normal on both sides of the border, though burnt fields could be seen and the Israeli military has established new checkpoints. Schools were open in the Israeli villages of Awim, from which the Lebanese towns of Maroun al-Ras is clearly visible on a nearly hill. In southern Lebanon, farmers returned to their fields and the United Nations force tasked with monitoring the border area resumed its patrols. Sunday's incident, which caused no casualties following a week of rising tension that included what the Iranian-backed Lebanese Shiite movement described as an Israeli drone strike on its Beirut stronghold on August 25th. It's a possibility that now you can experience the feeling of living in Mars without even going to Mars. A cave in northern Spain is serving this purpose and promises that Martian feeling. Thanks to Astroland's Airy station, which replicates the hostile environment of the red planet, scientists and architects have worked to convert the 1.5-kilometer long and 60-meter high cave in Cantabria of Spain into a fictional colony of Mars, keeping in mind the conditions that would be required if humans ever settled on extraterrestrial land. Participants would have to undergo 26 days of online courses and 3 days of intensive training before entering the cave, with a maximum of 10 people in each mission. Well, after a look at all the international stories, it's time to welcome on board my colleague Achal, who will get us the latest in the world of finance and business.
Well, thank you very much, Anand, and let's have a look at those news which are making headlines in the world of business. The Finance Ministry expects the remaining 4 public sector lenders to be out of the RBI's prompt corrective action framework with the recent round of capital infusion. Currently, Indian Overseas Bank, Central Bank of India, UCO Bank and United Bank of India are under this framework, which puts several restrictions on them, including on lending management, compensation and directors' fees. The government announced capital infusion of rupees 10,800 crores into these 4 banks, with IOB getting the highest amount of 3,800 crores. The regulatory capital is so much that it will enable 4 banks to come out of PCA framework this year, Finance Secretary Rajiv Kumar said. Now, according to a CBDT notification, the Income Tax Department will automatically issue PAN to a taxpayer using Aadhaar number for filing returns as a part of a new arrangement to link the two databases. They will not be required to apply or submit any more documents. The rule has come into effect from September 1. Linking of the two databases is now compulsory and backed by law. As per data, over 120 crore Aadhaar numbers have been issued in the country and about 41 crore PAN numbers have been generated. Out of these, more than 22 crore PANs are linked with Aadhaar. Flipkart co-founder Binny Bansal has sold his shares worth rupees 14 million, that is over rupees 100 crore, to New York headquartered hedge fund Tiger Global. Regulatory filings submitted by Flipkart indicated that former co-founder Binny Bansal has sold a tranche of shares for the third time since Walmart's takeover of the e-commerce company. Binny Bansal had founded Flipkart in 2007 with Sachin Bansal. However, Sachin Bansal had left the company before Binny Bansal, and he was also an investor. And that's all we have in this edition of Finance World. Back to Anil for more updates.
Thank you, Achal, for those updates in the world of business. It's time now to take a look at what's making news in the world of sports. First up, Indian cricket team continue to win as they produced a top-notch bowling performance in a clinical 257-run demolition of the West Indies in the second test in Kingston, Jamaica, to win the series 2-0 and putting them on top of the points table in the ICC Test Rankings World Championship points table. The victory was the 28th in Test for Virat Kohli, making him the most successful Indian captain in the traditional format of the game, overtaking MS Dhoni. Chasing a near impossible target of 468 runs to chase, West Indies batting once again failed to show stomach for a good fight as they caved in for 210 in 59.5 overs, well inside the fourth day. Hanuman Vihara was declared the man of the match. On to shooting, the 10-meter air pistol final was an all-Indian affair with Abhishek Verma and Yashaswini Singh Deswal competing against Manu Bakar and Saurav Chaudhary. As expected, it turned out to be the most exciting match of the day, with Saurav and Bakar staging an epic comeback to clinch yet another mixed team gold medal. World number 1 in women's 10-meter air rifle shooting, Apurvi Chandrela partner Deepak Kumar to win India's 4th gold medal of the concluding day of the ISSF World Cup in Rio de Janeiro. The pair of Anjum Mudgal and Divyansh Panwar won the bronze medal. India completed the ISSF World Cup in Rio with a total haul of 5 gold, 2 silver and 9 bronze medals for a total of 9 medals in the Rio World Cup. Well, moving to the US Open, the final Grand Slam of the year, Belinda Bencic notched her 3rd win over Naomi Osaka this year, beating the defending champion 7-5, 6-4 in straight sets to reach the first Grand Slam quarter-final in 5 years. Schwartzman then beat Alexander Zverev to reach the quarterfinals in the men's singles. Schwartzman came from a set down to beat the German 6th seed Alexander to reach the US Open quarterfinals at Flushing Meadows. Schwartzman, the 20th seed, won 3-6, 6-2, 6-4, 6-3 to set up a potential meeting with 3-time champion Rafael Nadal. The Spaniard overcame Marin Cilic in a 4-set contest 6-3, 3-6, 6-1, 6-2. Matteo Bertini, the 24th seed, eased to a 6-1, 6-4, 7-6 win over Russia's 43-ranked Andrei Rublev to reach the last 8 at a Grand Slam for the first time in his career. Well, time now to take a look at the national dailies and the stories that are making the headlines from the national capital. Our first look is at the Times of India, an interesting headline there with the Times of India, Chandrayaan 2 crossing that big milestone before landing. The world eagerly waiting to see the moon landing. With just 5 days to go for moon landing, the scientists from across the world are eagerly waiting for the D-Day. Former NASA astronaut Donald A. Thomas, who's visiting India, said Chandrayaan 2 will be the first craft to land near the South pole, and this will be where NASA hopes to land an astronaut in 5 years' time. Another NASA veteran has said that he is going to come for that big show, and the touchdown is expected on the 7th of September at around 1:40 a.m. The Vikram will start its final descent and is likely to touch the moon's surface within 15 minutes. So 7th of September is the D-Day, when we all need to keep our fingers crossed and that final milestone will be achieved. Well, moving to our next story that comes from the Hindustan Times. This is an interesting story on government spending 1,000 crores on 3 J&K airports. The government will spend about 1,000 crores in the next 3 years to expand 3 airports in Jammu and Kashmir as part of its efforts to integrate the state with the rest of the country by increasing connectivity. This particular cost of building a new airport at Leh will be around 480 crores, and the target is to complete that by September 2021. Well, our next look is at an interesting story from the Pioneer on the front page. Pakistan donkey numbers boom. In India, the numbers are declining by 15% as according to the livestock census, but in Pakistan the numbers are increasing. It is according to that media reports there, Pakistan during the 1 year, in the last 1 year, the population of donkeys has increased by 1 lakh, while that of horses, camels and mules have remained stagnant. What's the reason for this particular increase in the number of donkeys in Pakistan? Pakistan has offered to export donkeys to China, where its hide is much demand for its medicinal properties, as a result of which there is a lot of demand for donkeys in China, and Pakistan is exporting this to China. Donkeys are highly prized in China, especially for the hide, which is used to manufacture traditional Chinese medicines. And in the next 1 year, according to that report that's published, almost 80,000 donkeys are going to be exported to China in the next 3 years. Our next look is at the Hindustan Times again on the front page. Top guns take to skies. A photograph there of Abhinandan for the IAF chief on his farewell sortie, and the IAF chief B.S. Dhanua flew his last sortie there in an Air Force aircraft on Monday with National Hero Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman. They both flew in a twin-seater MiG-21 trainer aircraft at the Pathankot Air Base. Our final look at the newspapers is from Mail Today. This is a full page on Bollywood celebrating Ganpati festival, the Ganesh Chaturthi festivals, with film stars sharing the greetings with fans on social media. Right from Jitendra South with Ekta Kapoor. We also got Kirti Sanon, Vivek Oberoi, Sara Ali Khan, Siddhant Chaturvedi and Sanjay Dutt family celebrating the festival of Ganesh Chaturthi that's celebrated across India and also especially in Maharashtra. Well, after a look at the national dailies, it's time now to take a jog down memory lane and catch all the important events that took place on this very day, September 3rd, in history.
On this day in 1923, Pandit Kishan Maharaj, famous Indian tabla player, was born in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. He started his career at the age of 11 and later performed various stage shows with famous personalities like Omkarnath Thakur, Fayaz Khan, Ravi Shankar and many others. In 1926, on this day, Uttam Kumar, Bengali actor, director, producer and singer, was born in Kolkata. He predominantly worked in Indian cinema and was a recipient of many awards over his lifetime, including the National Film Award for Best Actor. On this day in 1984, at least 1,300 people died and hundreds more were injured after Typhoon Ai